Welcome to Spirit Soul Sense, Information for Your Soul, and I am Sharice. I wanted to talk a little bit more about sexuality and spirituality. And so this video is going to be specifically about sex being one part of sexuality. I have another video where I talk about spirituality and sexuality in general. And so you might want to go look at that one before you delve deeper into this one. I know that sex is a very important part in life, and a lot of people focus on this part of sexuality, and so I wanted to do a video just on sex. So for starters, we're all here through a sexual act. Even if you were made in a laboratory with doctors, I only know of one way to get sperm, and that's through masturbation. That's the only way I know of. I don't know if there's some way to go in with surgery and do it, but even if that's one of the ways, that parent came through here through a sexual act. Sex is a part of our lives. It's a natural part of us being human. We are sexual beings. We are spiritual beings. It's all related. So another way of thinking about sexuality and spirituality being related is thinking about our purpose here in life and sex as being a part of our life. So life is sacred. I think our lives are important. We each have a soul that's on its own journey of evolution, and sex is also sacred. Some people have a problem with thinking about ourselves as sexual beings. I like to say that children masturbate. It's one of the natural things that they become curious about their bodies. And most kids have seen porn by the time they're 12 years old. I think those are interesting facts that even children, even though they're not interested in having sex, are interested in the information, how it's done, and pleasuring themselves. Our society has done an excellent job of defiling sex, making it seem like this big bad thing that people should not be doing, when sex in and of itself is not bad. And I don't even like using the terms good and bad to describe something. Like, sex just is, it's a part of who we are. Our sexuality, our spirituality just is. If you take the spirit and the God and the connection out of sex, then you are more likely to have negative experiences in your life, and that can be bad. But it's your choice in how you decide to grow and evolve as a soul. I've shared that I grew up in the church, and so one of the things that the church teaches, like very aggressively, sometimes more than others, is that sex is something only for a married couple and a married heterosexual couple. They are quick to very clearly explain that that's the only approved sex. And then a lot of the teachings say that sex is like the worst thing you could ever do, even though the Bible kind of equates all sin. I do not use the word sin in my regular life, but the Bible talks about sin and them all being equal. But still, church folks somehow make the Bible into supporting their belief or that sex is bad and it's the worst thing you could do, and you should feel ashamed and guilty if you engage in any sexual behavior. That was definitely the case in my experience. I remember feeling very guilty and very ashamed, after having sex. And then it really was like a process of unlearning that it's not bad and I'm not a bad person and I'm not going to hell. I don't believe in hell. But, at the time, it was very important for me to unlearn these beliefs about who I was and what it meant about my relationship with God. So typically, for sex to be something beneficial in your life, there needs to be a deeper connection. And so a lot of people are searching for God, spirit, the universe, while they're searching for sex. They think they just want sex, or they think they just want to have a great experience with this person. But there's a lot of people who just have sex after sex and partner after partner, and they end up feeling worse off than they did before they got with this person. And a lot of that reason is because they have not committed or connected with this person on a deeper level. And the deeper level is part of your soul. We each have that piece of God inside of us. And so we're all searching for this deeper connection. We don't all call it God, and that's okay. I have no problems with anyone not wanting to say, I'm not looking for spirit, I'm not looking for I get it. the labels might be off-putting to some people. It's the way I understand things. But I also know that even if we remove the labels, we can understand through polling and talking to people who have been committed or people who have been having casual sex for a long time and get some anecdotal information on how it feels. It might feel fine for a time, sleeping with random people, sleeping with people you don't really care about, sleeping with people you're using, but after a point, it tips and you start to pay attention to how you feel on the inside, and it's not good. If you keep doing that, it's not good. I'm not saying like you can't have like fun, wild sex, do all the things, but I think long term, you are going to want to look for something deeper and more meaningful. So sex to me is really about a deeper desire for spirit, and having sex, having orgasms is really getting you to that oneness with God, getting you to being present and in the moment, connected to God. And a lot of people are searching for that feeling, but it's really just one part of spiritual fulfillment. And you don't even have to have sex to get to spiritual fulfillment. And I say often that marriage or a long-term intimate relationship, romantic, is for the evolution of our soul. And in another video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how that is not necessary for everyone. A lot of us are going to be partnered. Most people in the population are going to be partnered with someone else. And that person you partner with is really a direct helper in your soul evolving. Everyone doesn't get a life partner. And so I'm going to talk in another video about like what that looks like and what happens then. But when partnership does happen, or you are having sex with someone who you're committed to or connected to in a deeper, meaningful way, then you are really opening the door for a deeper, more meaningful connection with God as well. In order to have a romantic relationship that's meaningful, long-term, committed, you're going to have to get through intimacy and vulnerability. And so my healer says, and I know she didn't make this up, but my healer likes to say, intimacy is into me, you see. Because what really happens when we become intimate with someone, intimate is not the same as sex. Intimate is I'm sharing the different layers of myself with someone else, and I'm hoping that they're going to accept me. And in order to do that, you have to be vulnerable. You have to show up as yourself. You have to share things that they wouldn't just know about you, which are private, part of your history, maybe part of your traumas, maybe part of your scars, things that you've healed from. You have to, if you want to become intimate with someone, you have to share deeper parts of yourself, which can be very scary. Brené Brown has a book called Daring Greatly, where she talks really in depth about vulnerability and how it's really about courage, you know? Like, even though you're afraid of the rejection, you're afraid that you won't be accepted by this person, you have taken the leap of faith that you are going to share something that you think is going to connect you even more. And in her book, she talks about, hey, sometimes you are met with rejection. Sometimes that person doesn't think you're worthy or doesn't think you're good enough. That doesn't mean you are. You are definitely worthy and good enough. But you just need to find the person who agrees with you and who sees you for who you are. So it's important to be intimate with someone you can trust, someone who is kind, someone who is respectful. And I also think for folks who are in long-term committed relationships, intimacy, vulnerability is not just like a one and done thing. It's not like the first year of your relationship, you build a foundation of intimacy and vulnerability, and now after that, you never have to do it again. It's really an ongoing process. And sex can be a window into how the relationship is doing. And you have to keep sharing with each other. Life is going to continue giving you challenges and things to work on, things to grow and be grateful for. And so you're going to have to check in with your partner about where are we? Is there something happening now that I need to share that's really on a deeper level? And what can our sex life tell us about where we are right now? Relationships are important. Sex and sex in relationships is just as important. But like I said in my other video, it's very important that you don't depend on another person for your sexual pleasure or for validation. This process of understanding sexuality and spirituality and when to be and how to be intimate with someone else emotionally and sexually is about integrating yourself into a whole, balancing your mind, body, and spirit because they are one, and really coming to a place of peace in your sexuality and your spirituality because they are related, they're really connected. And our spiritual journey is really about making love to ourselves first. Thank you for watching.